So dear students, now let me continue our discussion on property of charge. Okay, we have discussed in the last class 4 or 5 property of charges, and I think I have ended the class on the on the fifth property. Okay, and the property was fifth property, and that was quantization of charge. Quantization of charge. Okay, I was discussing about quantization of charge, and there I have told that the charge of any object is the integral multiple of charge of electron, that is n into e. So q is equal to plus minus ne is the mathematical form of quantization of charge. But and this q is equal to plus minus ne suggests that fractional charge is not possible. I have told you that fractional charge is not possible. Okay, but there is two objection of quantization of charge, and one thing is on quark. So the theoretical model of quark model of particle. Okay, so this quark model is actually challenged this statement that fractional charge is not possible, and at the same time we will start in the little later about the continuous charge distribution. Distribution. So these two things will challenge the quantization of charge. Let me talk about how these two things are challenged. First, let me talk about quark. So the modern research states that the charge of proton and neutron, like some particles which will form with this fundamental charge quark. So if we more splitting the proton and neutron, then we will get quark. So actually proton and neutron will form basically with quark. Okay, and this quark are of two kinds. For proton and neutron, in general the quarks are of 6 kinds. We will discuss more detail about quark in particle physics, but here I can say you that this proton and neutron will form with two quark. One is called up quark, that is u, and another is down quark. And up quark has the charge plus 2 by 3e, and down quark has charge minus 1 by 3e. So proton and neutron is a combination of up and down quark. So you can see that proton is the combination of up down, and neutron is the combination of up down down. And you can understand by substituting the value of charge. So this means what? 2e by 3 plus 2e by 3, okay, minus e by 3, and you will see here 4, 2 plus 2 4, 4e minus e, 3e by 3, that is e, and we know that charge of proton is plus e, so it is satisfied. Okay, and if you talk about a neutron, then here also 2e by 3 minus e by 3 minus e by 3, and that is 0. So it also suggests that neutron is neutral particle. So here only I have told you about the proton and neutron, but in particle physics we will study a lot of particle where you will see other than this up and down quark, there are a lot of quarks. Another 4 types of quark, that is strange, charm, top, bottom. These kinds of are there, but the charges of each and every quark is either plus 2 by 3e or minus 1 by 3e, and these 6 kinds of quarks are there, and there are 6 kinds of anti-quark also. So we will discuss this thing later on, but here the outcome is that the quark model suggests that fractional charge is possible, though this is till now the theoretical research, but thing of theoretical research, but there is no surety about this isolated quark. Okay, so it's still a thing of research, but you can see if this quark is established theoretically as well as experimentally, then it can challenge the fractional charge. Okay, it will challenge the statement of quantization of charge that fractional charge is not possible. Okay, but though here our purpose is different, because we are just going to talk about a whole object. For a whole object So for a whole object there is no chance of talking about this quark, because here the electron will transfer, so from one object to another object, so there is no scope of passing electron a fractional number like 1.5 number of electrons cannot be passed, or 2.6 or 1.66 electron cannot be passed from one object to another object. So here no issue about this, but the statement of fractional charge is not possible, can be challenged by the quark model. Okay, so and the another thing also we will see later on, that we will discuss about in electrostatics about continuous charge distribution. Okay, we will discuss about continuous charge distribution. Continuous charge distribution. So these topics or the formulation of these kinds of charge distribution is also a objection in viewpoint of quantization of charge, because according to quantization of charge this is purely a discrete concept. When you talk about any quantized thing, then this is a discrete concept. So why we need this kinds of continuous charge distribution if charge follows the quantization rule? And this is just a microscopic and macroscopic view. So this quantization of charge is only applicable in microscopic level. But when the charge is more and more, you can see if you take 1 coulomb charge only, then how many electrons it can contain. If you see from here that Q is equal to Ne, so N will be equal to Q divided by E, and if you put Q 1 coulomb, and this is 1.6 into 10 to the power minus 19 coulomb, then it will form 6.25 into 10 to the power 18 electron. So can you see how much large number of electrons are there in a 1 coulomb of charge? So if 1 coulomb of charge is distributed on a line, then huge number of electrons are there. So when you talk about 5 coulomb, 10 coulomb, then huge number of electrons are there in a line or in a surface or in a volume. So we can take that viewpoint this as the continuous distribution. Either the number of electrons are so large that instead of discrete charge distribution, it is sufficient to say about continuous charge distribution, and the calculation will be more simple, because you cannot calculate for each and every electron the electric field or electric potential around a charge distribution. So you have to take continuous charge distribution as a macroscopic view. Okay, as a macroscopic view. Okay, so these are the two objections of quantization of charge, but this can be handled as I have said you in this way. Okay, so now the next important property of charge is the conservation of charge. Okay, so let me talk property number 6, you can say, and that is the conservation of charge. And you can say here, for any isolated system the total charge is constant. For any isolated system where charge is not given from outside or charge cannot be taken from that system, so if you take a system that is isolated from the outer world, so for, of course with respect to charge, so for isolated system means no charge will go inside the system or no charge will come out from the system. So that means that is the isolated system with respect to charge. Okay, interaction of charge. So for isolated system you can say that total charge is always constant. Total charge is equal to constant. So let me give you an example. Here of course we are talking about frictional electricity. So if you have a glass rod like this and you have a silk, okay, now if you rub initially let me take this as a system, a glass rod and a silk. So here this glass rod is initially a neutral object, and silk is also a neutral object. So initially total charge is equal to 0. Now if you rub these two, then here will form negative charge and the equal amount of positive charge will form here. So this will be minus q and this will be plus q. So after rubbing, the total charge will also be same. The total charge will be q minus q is equal to 0. Okay, so you can say that for any isolated system the total charge is constant. So this is nothing but the conservation of charge, and you can see this conservation of charge for every system, not only for frictional electricity, but if you see a nuclear reaction, like if you talk about a nuclear fission reaction, that is U23592 plus N10, and here barium 14156 and krypton 9236 plus 3 neutron will form 10 plus some energy will form. Okay, so here you can see the number of proton before the reaction, that means total number of charge. Okay, 90 plus 0 is equal to 0 is equal to 90, and after the for the product you can see 56 plus 36 plus 0, that will also be 92. So charge is conserved for total charge is conserved for reactant and for product. Okay, so this is again proof the conservation of charge. Okay, now let me talk about another more important concept, that is invariant. Charge is invariant. Okay, so let me take it as property number 7, that state that charge is invariant. Okay, charge is invariant. What it means? It means any quantity, any physical quantity, if this is invariant, it means that at rest, when the quantity is at rest, then it will possess the same value when it will be in moving. So charge is invariant means q rest is equal to q moving. But this is not very obvious, because you know mass and length are the more fundamental property of object, but these two are not invariant with respect to velocity. According to Einstein's special theory of relativity, you know the mass will vary according to this formula when the object will be moving very close to the speed of light. So it will be m is equal to m0 divided by root over 1 minus v square by c square, where v is the velocity of the object and m0 is the rest mass. Similarly, if L0 is the proper length, that is the length for at rest frame, then it will be for moving frame, it will be L is equal to L0 root over 1 minus v square by c square. So this is the proper length. So proper length will also, so the length will also be vary according to this relation, and mass will vary according to this relation. So mass and length are not invariant, but charge is invariant in that case. But please keep in mind, if someone talk about the charge density, okay, someone talk about charge density, then it will not invariant. Please keep in mind, this is the most important thing. Most students will confuse about this. Charge density is not, because charge density is what? Q upon L or Q upon S or Q upon V. So this is not the constant, because L, S and V will not be invariant. These are variant. If L variant, then S and V will also be variant with respect according to velocity, with respect to velocity. When velocity is large, then this will vary. So charge density is not invariant. Okay, but at the same time, if you talk about specific charge, this is also not invariant, because here also specific charge means q divided by m, and m is variant, so q by m is variant. So this is also is not invariant. So please keep in mind this thing. Though the charge is invariant, but charge density and specific charge is not variant. Okay, and another more important thing I like to say, that charge without mass. Okay, if you talk about charge without mass is not possible. Charge without mass is not possible. The object should have mass first, then only it can contain charge. But mass without charge is possible. Mass without charge is possible. So let me take some example, okay, so that you can understand. Charge without mass, like if you talk about photon, if you talk about gamma ray, then the rest mass is 0. So when its rest mass is 0, that is m0 is equal to 0, then you can immediately say that there is a neutral particle, and you know that there is a neutral particle. Okay, so if mass is 0, then they should not have any charge. But mass without charge is possible, because you know neutron is a neutral particle. Neutron is a neutral particle, but it has a mass. Neutron has a mass. You know, neutron is a more fundamental particle and it has a mass mp, and that is 1.6752 into 10 to the power minus 27 kg. So it has mass, rest mass. Okay, so these are the important property of electric charge. And now in the next class I will discuss about charge density and some problem involving that. Okay, then we will move to Coulomb's law, electric field, electric potential, etc. Okay, thank you.